Hey everyone, welcome back to the Off the Hook Crochet channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to crochet another fun textured stitch, the bobble stitch. If you're looking for a way to add playful bumps and extra dimension to your crochet projects, this is a great stitch to try. The bobble stitch creates a raised cluster that looks like a little ball sitting on top of your work. The stitch creates a dense bump of material, which makes it perfect for giving your projects, even amigurumi pieces, a really tactile texture. I've worked up a few rows here by combining bobble stitches with basic single crochets, just to show you how these little clusters pop out against a flat background. They can be spread out for a subtle surface texture or stacked together for a really bold, bumpy look. One thing I will note before we get started is the orientation of the stitch. We make bobble stitches in the wrong side of our work. What this means is that the side of your work that you want the bump to appear needs to be facing away from you while you crochet the bobble stitch. As you can see, the profile of the stitch really is one-dimensional. On the back of my work, all I see are little dimples, and the front of the work is really where you see the detail of the bobble stitches. All right, let's go ahead and crochet one together. I'll show you step by step how it's done. I'm just going to chain one, start my next row of single crochets here with the bobbles, and we'll get started. The bobble stitch is essentially 5 double crochets in the same stitch, but the double crochets are incomplete. So what we do is yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through only the first 2. That's 1 incomplete double crochet stitch. If you note, I'm grabbing right here at the base of this stitch to help me maintain my tension and control. Once you have all the loops on the hook, it's going to get a little messy if you're not keeping control of your stitches. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through the first 2, and there's 2 incomplete double crochets. So we'll start to gather some loops on our hook, yarn over, and then only pull through the first 2. We'll do that 2 more times for a total of 5. Now that we have our 5 incomplete double crochets, we'll have the 5 loops from the double crochets and then the first loop that we started with for 6. Now, keeping these loops in line here is important because it determines the look of the bobble stitch from the front. So if you have some overlapping loops here, they're twisted, try to straighten those out before you do the last step. They should all be side by side like that. Now I'm pinching at the base of my stitch and I'm pulling up just a little bit with my hook so I can keep those loops open. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 6 of those loops at the same time. That is the bobble stitch. And what makes it pop out the most pronounced is to have a lower stitch, a lower height stitch next to it, like the single crochet. So when we make our single crochet next to the bobble stitch, you'll see that the bobble stitch just pops right out. All that material from those double crochets just comes right out in the front. So I'll do another one for you here. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 2 double crochets, 3, 4, 5. I have my 6 loops on my hook. I yarn over and pull through all 6. And then make my single crochets in between. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. And we can continue on making more if we choose. So one thing I want to mention as well is that you can change up the size of your bobble stitch if you choose. If you want a smaller bobble, you can subtract one of the incomplete double crochets. In this case here, I made a few rows of 4. Double crochet incomplete inside the stitch. There's only 4. So you can see side-by-side comparison. The bobble stitch with 4 is just a little bit smaller than the one with 5, the traditional one. You can go ahead and try this with only doing 3 and see how that strikes you. You can add 6 or 7 for an even bigger, more pronounced bobble if you like. Another example I'd like to give you is what it looks like when you combine the bobble stitch with double crochets or taller stitches around them. You still see that little bump, but it's not as pronounced as the traditional with the single crochets on either side. So the choice is yours how you want how pronounced you want the bobble to be, but this just gives you a side-by-side comparison of what it looks like when you combine the bobble with shorter versus taller stitches. And you can see from the profile on the side just how much they stand out. So for flatter projects, space the bobbles out a little bit more so the fabric doesn't get too heavy. And if you want bobbles stacked right next to each other, you can scrunch them a little bit closer together, maybe with just one single crochet in between. If you're making amigurumi, the bobble stitches make great little bumps, adding texture to your work without having to sew. And that's it. That's the bobble stitch. Simple, textured, really fun to use in your crochet projects. If you end up trying it out, let me know in the comments what project you're adding it to, or if you have any questions about the bobble stitch, I'd be happy to help. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.